Hello and welcome to the Rangers Rabble reaction to the Dundee Scottish Cup game. What would you say? Comfortable, maybe like a training match at times. Rangers didn't really look under too much pressure. Kerr, what was your impression of the 90 minutes overall before we kind of touch on certain things?
I just thought Rangers looked really good. I know Fogo said Dundee weren't up too much, but you can only beat what's in front of you. They're still an SPL team. I just thought we went out very professional and it was 3-0, but it could have been probably 6, 7, maybe 8. The chances we created, I thought were very good.
John, what about yourself, mate? What did you make of the 90 minutes overall?
As expected, Dundee are kind of falling into that championship. They're going to be out of this division pretty quickly. I wouldn't mind me Mark McGee, to be honest, getting that job and then never having to turn up for your work every single day. And then, even when you've got a 6-game ban, you can then just call in COVID for 2 weeks as well. So it must be a nice shift.
Guys, what about yourself, mate? What did you make of the 90 minutes?
It was a good day at the office. A few good performances for some of the boys that came in. So, pretty happy. On to Hampden.
That's it, mate. That's it. That was the thing we wanted to do, when it was get back to the semi-finals. We've obviously fell short a couple of times in recent seasons, so to just go over that is a kind of a mental block, I suppose, in some ways. Right, let's kind of jump in. The first note I took was the back pass after 4 minutes. I know you obviously criticised the officiating in this country, but did anybody out of this pod think that was a pass back? Anybody?
Nope.
No, me.
No. I just couldn't work out what the referee was thinking, because I've never known anybody to kick the ball back to like 40 yards and then like he gives a pass back, but that was just me. Obviously, 9 minutes. Calvin Bassey wins the corner. James Tavernier swings it in. I actually thought Big Highlander's header was over the line at the start, but what about Goldson's finish, John? Was that the finish of a striker rather than a defender?
I don't know where he's pulled it from though. He does my nothing. Goldson should be hitting 15 goals a season with the amount of opportunities he has, and then he pulls something like that out. The amount of headers he's missed and shots he's missed hit, and then hits a volley so sweet into the back of the net. No, but mate, when you've got Tavernier's delivery, it's like, I think I say this every time I'm on here. I don't know where we'd be. The delivery, some of the crossing today was unbelievable for him again. But it's good to having those in. I've said this a few times. I think he's building towards an old firm three at the back with Highlander, Balogun, and Goldson. I think he's been building towards it since the old firm at Parkhead, and I think he really smells danger when we've got set plays. If we can get all three of them in the pitch at one time with Tavernier's delivery, you just need to get the corners. That's all we need to do. Corners and free kicks against Celtic, and that'll be how we dominate the game.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I mean, like, it's interesting. Even looking at the next chance we created, it was Golson with that long ball again, and he picks out Kamara, who was so high up the pitch. It's unusual to see Glenn in that position. He knocks it back, and obviously it fell to Alfredo on the edge of the box. Guys, do you think that he should have done a wee bit better there, because he had a wee bit more time than maybe what he thought?
No, because I saw an angle from behind the goal, and he didn't really have much to aim at. But there was the two defenders, sort of right there, and he only had that wee gap. So I'm not going to be too critical on that chance. But yeah, the ball for Connor's great, and Kamara's done really well with the layoff. But yeah, I'm not going to be too critical on Alfie at that. There's a header later on that's maybe should have put in the back of the net more.
Kerr, I'll come to you next, because I can pretty much go through some of the stuff in the first half. What about Tavernier's pass to release Ramsey? Did you just expect that one to hit the back of the net?
I did. I thought you're just waiting for. I mean, they had a few chances, didn't he, Ramsey, today? But I thought he actually played well, Ramsey. Considering it's been a big wait for him to come into the team, I thought he played really well today. But Tavernier, like John said, I mean, I don't know why there's still people in social media and people you hear at a football match still slag him and say the word fuck's sake, Tav. I mean, take Tavernier for the Rangers side for the last, 3-4 seasons. Where would it be? Because he offers so much to that team, so much. But no, I think when Tav's in the ball and he creates things. I thought the midfield today was really good. I thought Ramsey played well, Sands played well, Kamara was further forward, which he's done in the last few games, played well. And Ryan Jack just does what Ryan Jack does. I thought we played well, and I agree with John. I think the back three, I prefer a back three myself, I have to say.
Well, obviously we spoke about it kind of prior to the pod come on, but it was interesting with Sands. He basically kind of took the Lundstrom role today, and that he was kind of dropping in and out, whether it was from like the diagonals, whether it was from like goal kicks, he was dropping in to be the third centre back. What did you make of that, John? Do you think this is just something that we're just going to have to get used to, that Gio's going to keep using this particular system, that either Sands or Lundstrom, if they play, will just drop in and out?
I think it's something that needed to be done, because I think even under Gerrard, even at the end of last season, teams realised if they put two up against us and pressed us, we would still try and play out and we would have no success. And nothing adapted under Gerrard with that. And we were going really stale really fast under Gerrard this season before he left. I think that was a little adjustment he could have made, because he was still bombing the fullbacks on and then putting the two centre mid of the three out into the false fullback areas. But we still couldn't get in the ball, because teams were just going 3-5-2 or 4-4-2 against us, and we weren't delivering any of our patterns of play. So just doing that little adjustment to keep your fullbacks in there and bringing a third centre half, it invites 3-4 people to press you, and then you're out the other end with an overload. It's pretty basic. I mean, it's kind of surprising that it took a new manager and then a wee bit further down the line to realise that's something we should be doing during the game.
Yeah. I suppose when things are working and you're winning games, maybe you don't want to change things, and maybe that's a criticism maybe of Gerrard in some ways. Not that it was a bad thing, because we obviously went unbeaten during the full league season, etc. So it's hard to be too critical, but it is interesting that Gio almost immediately kind of noticed that and obviously kind of changed it up, which it certainly benefited us in the European games as well. The next chance obviously ended up being a penalty. Aaron Ramsey with a nice wee kind of flip round the corner to Tav. What did you make of the penalty, guys? Did you think it was a penalty straight away, or was it the replay that kind of like sort of confirmed it for you?
There was the replay that confirmed it for me. I thought it was a penalty. I know there's a certain commentator that thinks half the things that Rangers get aren't penalties, especially the day. So if you're saying it's a soft penalty, then it's either a penalty or it's not a penalty. I think it was. Ramsey done really well. It's that wee simple wee layoff to Tav that makes it, and it's a penalty. And Tav does really well with it. His last two penalties have probably been the two best penalties I've seen him take.
Yeah. I mean, like the way he takes these penalties, it sort of gives you the fear at times, because like you see the ball rising, and I suppose the amount of penalties that Tav kind of takes over a season overall. Yeah, like he's going to miss one or two, but these last two in particular, I don't think any goalkeeper's saving those two. They're just top penalties. The next chance that I've got written down was Ramsey. I think he played in Tavernier and he drilled the ball right across the box, and it's the one that Morelos was at the back post. Did you think that Morelos should maybe have been a bit like sort of tighter in, and that's like 3-0, or do you think it's just good defending because the guy does get a wee tiny touch before Morelos? Come to you, Kerr.
Thanks, Rob. I don't know if was Alfie caught in his heels, or was he maybe expecting Tav to? I don't know. But I just think he should have been further at the back post. You're at the back. Many times if you're at the back post, you can maybe tap it in. But we created so many chances today, William. It was just, I know we scored 3, but we could have scored 6, 7, 8. But it was unlucky. But we just even after that, he didn't let his head go down. We kept going. We kept going for more.
I think with that one, I think if you're going to be a wee bit critical of Morelos, he was probably the wrong side of the defender.
Yeah, that's what I was meaning. He should have probably been inside. So he's going to be the first one to get contact on the ball, isn't he? Rather than maybe being at the back. That's
9 times out of 10, he usually would be.
Aye, exactly. So maybe you're just being extra critical because you know that he can be in these positions to score those goals. The next one that I've got written down, because I had that many notes in the first half, we created that many chances. It was a really good first 35-40 minutes. Some of the football we played I thought was really, really good quality. It was when Kent had the really quick feet in the middle of the pitch, and then he played the ball wide to Tavernier, and then he whipped the ball in for Morelos, and I'm not really too sure, John, how Morelos missed that header, because he was kind of point blank range. Do you think he just got under it, or he didn't pick it out quickly enough?
I think that's all it is. I think that's a header I could bury, to be honest. Morelos used to be like this, hot and cold all the time. I can't. Sorry, I'm pissing myself laughing. I can't help but notice I cannot get this light.
Light a candle, John. Light a candle.
This is my work office. office and I've had it checked and it's working. And fucking every time I try to do something and go on a meeting, I look like I'm in Crime Watch now, but it's just come out and I can't fix it. So I'm just gonna have to do it. But Morelos' heading's so inconsistent. Like for somebody that's scored the amount of European goals he has and important headers for us, he has some of them in him. He still has that lack of concentration, just switching off as he's about to make contact. But as we've said, like, I mean, we go on and on about Tavernier's assist rate. The amount of headers that are missed off the back, like, because that's what we're talking about. Morelos should be in front of him at the back post for the tap in. Should be another one. There's another corner. Just we're due to give someone a doing, an absolute doing. Our conversion rate is so low that we're due a game where we turn up and we score all chances and put somebody to the solid 8 or 9 goals. But I'm sure Morelos is saving his goals up for a few more Thursdays. So.
Well, that was one of the things. I mean, even from the resulting corner that you obviously talked about there, the ball drops to Morelos about 3 yards out. It's actually really good defending. The guy puts a really good block. And then I think it's Kent that gets the shot off and hits cleared off the line, and you're sitting going, we probably should have been out of sight within the first 35 minutes, guys.
Yeah. We should have been. But I'm just happy we won, to be honest.
I know.
Like I said in the chat before, I'm a bit fed up of doing review pods where we haven't won.
Yeah,
so
of course.
It's just nice to do one that we have won. So
I think it's interesting. Like, I mean, look, I think for about 10 minutes we went into a wee bit of a lull. I don't know if it was just because we were creating so many chances and Dundee basically were doing next to nothing, but that was basically all the notes I had right until half time, where I think the boy Anderson had a shot from outside the box. I think other than that, maybe Dundee had one header. I think it was the guy Ashcroft that had a header.
Corner.
He possibly could have scored to equalise, which might have changed the game. But I mean, other than that, Dundee didn't create much. I'll come to you, Kerr. Half time, Morelos and Kamara off, Roof and Sakala on. Is that just common sense that you're protecting guys ahead of Thursday night as much as anything else?
It is, and me said, obviously, a preview pod, we thought Roof and Sakala would start, didn't we? So it was good to see them coming on because both of them need game time. And Sakala, as you've seen, he misses a couple of chances, but then he scores. And Roof just gets involved, and he's very intelligent with his play. So it's good to see both of them getting at least half, because they're due some game time just because. But the game was finished at 2-0. Did anyone ever going to pull that back?
No, I think that's the thing. Like, maybe at half time, I mean, I noticed with some of the guys in the comments are saying, why not maybe bring on McCann at half time or Lowry at half time? I suppose it's just still the mental thing that maybe the scars of the Motherwell game to a point where you're 2-0 up and maybe you end up kind of slipping. Maybe the manager wanted to get that third before he was going to make that kind of change. In the end, that wasn't how it worked out, obviously. But I just maybe felt at half time it would have been nicer to see Alex coming on. But I understand that Sakala and Roof do need minutes, and that we're probably going to have to utilise them in the coming weeks due to the European games as much as anything else. Second half, just some early notes. Tavernier's shot from outside the box. I think it kind of skidded by the outside of the post. Sakala's effort was well saved by the Dundee goalkeeper. And then probably the one that I thought it was going to be the day that Aaron Ramsey was going to score. We'll come to you on this, John. Really, really good play by Roof in the byline to pick out Ramsey. And it just felt like the goal had opened up for him, and all of a sudden this defender comes out of nowhere and clears it.
I still think he should bury it. I think he should. I think he's going to actually take a touch and set himself better. It's a goal I've seen him score for Arsenal so many times. That pull back for a full back area. I was a wee bit disappointed. I mean, he's hit the target. It's going in bottom corner. He's beat the goalkeeper, but it felt like to me that the defender was already recovering when he's going to hit it. So the Aaron Ramsey I remember would have taken a touch and layered that in keeper's near side. It would have been finished. That would have been get his first goal. But at least he got through over an hour of football. That was the key thing, because we're going to keep hearing Aaron Ramsey's not going to be the defining thing that wins us or doesn't win us a title, but we need someone like him to have impact when called upon. And I think today he was good. I don't think it's anywhere near an Aaron Ramsey performance. I think he was good. Like, the playing Dundee, and I think Sands outshone him by a big distance, but it's just good to have him. You don't know what he could be like after maybe 4 games on the trot, being able to get a start in there somewhere. He could just be could just swing some games, especially when you've got semi-finals. Aaron Ramsey, I always remember him at Arsenal, and if you look at Wales, he's a guy that turns up when it's big games, when it's semi-final, won Arsenal back-to-back FA Cups. Like, when semi-finals and finals are about, when Wales are trying to qualify for tournament, Aaron Ramsey's the one that's getting the goals. Aaron Ramsey's the one that's dragging them there. So I'm kind of like thinking the Scottish Cup will be the one he's got a real say in coming forward. I think that's the ones he'll feature in the most.
I'll come to you next, guys. The kind of next opportunity was Roof yet again, doing really well, taking the defender on, getting his shot off, then kind of broke to the back post. And then all of a sudden you see Kent kind of lying down on the touchline. Does that moment just give you the fear that Kent had done some damage? It sounds, I mean, like, so we all confirm it sounds like Gio said that he's okay.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Just that moment where you see Kent in the ground and you're thinking he was just about to come off as well, you know?
Yeah, that would have been our luck, wouldn't it? Getting ready to sub him and then he takes a bad one. But I think it was just a knock, really. I don't think it was anything serious. And there's been a few comments there saying that Gio's saying he's fine. So that'll do for me.
I think one of the big things to touch on the game, and obviously John obviously made a good point of it there. Kerr, how good was Sands today in terms of his positioning, in terms of like the way that he broke up the play, and yet again just doing a lot of the simple things really well that you would expect for a midfield player?
I thought he was superb. I thought he was really good against Aberdeen when he first came over, and then I thought he done well against Levy. And I know you get a lot of criticism. I don't say personal, but like on social media and stuff. But today again, he kept everything simple, but he does it really well. He reads the game really well. He nicks the ball away when Dundee were coming forward, and he just simply plays it past to an attacking player. And he gets back into position. He marks space at times, so they kind of go down that route. He just does everything simple. He's a really good team player, James Sands, and he can fill in a different couple of. He's versatile, so he can do a different couple of things. And then team centre back, midfield, even right back. So I think Gio knows that, and he'll use him to that way. But I think today he just kept everything simple. He kept Rangers playing, and he kept his tick and go. Even when they broke on us, like I say, he nicked the ball away, got it, passed it forward again, and he was just always making space for others round about him. He's running off folk to say, "I'm here if you need me." So he's making angles constantly. I thought he done really well.
I'll come to you guys just quickly on Sands as well. Are we sometimes quite quick to kind of write guys off because maybe we can expect too much too soon? You know, the kid's obviously, you know, been in America all his life. This is his first time outside the country. He signs for Rangers. He's obviously been kind of fleeting appearance wise. Is that something we need to be better at? Maybe be a bit more patient with some of these guys when they come to the club?
Definitely. There's nothing more fickle than a Rangers fan on Twitter half the time, you know. But
on this podcast as well, guys.
Yeah. Well, JD didn't look too impressed when we put on about Sands on the group chat. So
JD doesn't like anybody.
No, I thought he was brilliant today. Just done the easy, simple stuff well. But even when he did make a slight mistake, he was getting back, getting in about it again. And when he was off the ball, when he'd release the ball, and then he'd tell the player he's passing it to, he's like, over there, or he's like talking to them all as well. So I've got good hopes for Sands going forward in this team.
Yeah, I think it's just for me. I mean, like the one thing you realise, I've also watched Rangers for a long time now, along with a lot of you guys as well. And it's just like when new players come into the club, especially young players, you know, this kid's obviously grew up in America. He signed for NYC. He's obviously did exceptionally well last year. He's obviously had his American caps. We've brought him in on an 18-month loan deal, so it wasn't one of those ones that he only had until the end of the season to impress the manager. They've obviously given him like a fairly lengthy period of time to settle into the environment, to get used to our style of play, which is going to be different. You know, it always is going to be. But it felt like today was a really good performance. Probably the type of performance we expected from Sands when we signed him. Anybody that had kind of seen wee clips of him or seen him play in the MLS, that's the kind of player that I expected him to be. And I think today, hopefully now, moving forward, we will see more and more and more of them in the squad, because we will need to rotate the players over the next couple of months, because obviously the European games will take their toll, especially when you're having to play Thursday, Sunday a lot of the time. Okay, well, can I go on to a wee kind of last kind of third of the game? Ahmed Diallo come on for Ryan Kent after the wee niggle that he picked up. Straight away, Diallo gets a shot on target. It was a reasonably easily saved for the goalkeeper. Fashion put the ball in the back of the net the first time, but it was ruled for offside. Come to you, John. How good a finish is that, even though it's ruled for offside?
Oh, the finish is brilliant. That's as composed as I think I've seen him in front of goal, ironically, which is a bit frustrating when it's been chopped up. Maybe it was offside, right decision, but it's a very, very nice finish. And I think that kind of helps when he's through in goal 5 minutes later, because on his weak side, that is a very good finish for him for the one that he actually scored. So really happy. I think keep saying this. He's someone that's got something. He's got something there, but as a sub, you're not always getting it. Just really not. But he looked lively when he came on. He's someone that seems to always be dictated by his first couple of touches. I think if he's a good first touch, gets by somebody early, he kind of knows what he's set up for. I quite like him on the left. I like him cutting in onto that right foot. I think he can. He's put in good balls playing in the right wing, but I like that threat. That was kind of when he played for Ostend. He played as a left centre forward in a 2, and that was what he was good at. He was the kind of one that could roam. He pulled out into those. I guess for the positions that Henry kind of made more famous for himself, just being able to drift out, cut inside, and shoot on his right foot. So I like him in that. I like him in that. The only issue he's got is the right side is fairly up for grabs, and the left isn't. The left is Ryan Kent's. So if you're going to want to play in the left, you're going to be restricted to 10, 15 minutes a week.
And then did it not kind of sum up Sakala like literally a minute later when Roof smashes that ball across the box and you think, right, big man, all you need to do is just get your body
on it.
Drop the ball, and he somehow manages to nearly sky it over the crossbar and into the top tier of the stand. I mean, John, how does he go from scoring that finish to doing that? I mean, is that just Sakala? Is that just something we need to accept? That's how fashion's going to be at times.
I mean, I can only dream of being able to move at the speed he can move at. So I have no idea how you manage to score a tap in that's bouncing when you're moving at his pace. But I mean, I'm expecting that to rip the back of the net. I don't think that's a hard finish at all. He should have had a couple of goals today. Definitely should have had a couple of goals.
Right, Ken, I'll come to you next. 78 minutes, Aaron Ramsey lasted. Was that more than you anticipated? And what did you make of Charlie McCann when he came on?
Ramsey probably got enough time. I don't think he would last the full match, but the minutes is good for him, especially since he's not played for us. So hopefully that does him well, and we see him again in the next few games. Thought Charlie come on and done well. I thought he come on. Didn't have a lot of time, but I thought he come on and settled down. He made the pass we had to try to get forward, and he settled down quite well. And he's confident, Charlie, and because he's played at Rangers, he came through the system at Man United, so he's not going to be scared of putting a football part and playing against players of standard in the first team, So I thought like Ali to come on and done well, and I think it might take a couple of games to settle into the first team. Obviously, Alex Lilly's been there, so Alex knows it more. But I thought Charlie come on and done well, and I see him. Don't know this season because we've got a lot of hard games coming up. And we don't know, we can't really afford to drop stuff. But starting next season, I see him he'll be in the squad more regular. And I see him playing a few first team games next season. But I thought he'd done really well, Charlie, when he came on.
I'll come to you next, guys. Lowry comes on. I think it was about 85, 86 minutes. Within a minute or two, he obviously gets the ball in the middle of the pitch, drives forward, picks out Sakala, and we obviously get the third goal. I know it's a very small sample size with Lowry, and that we've only seen him in a couple of cup games now, and obviously the league start against Livy. What do you make of Lowry, and what do you think his best position is? Do you think it's like a number 8 or a number 10, or is it just that he's got that versatility that he can play in 2 or 3 positions?
I think he can play anywhere in the middle of that park. It was just really good to see someone drive at a defence the way he did for that goal, and then he let it off to Sakala at just exactly the perfect time. And the boy looks like he's got a good future at the club, so if we can get him tied down on a long-term deal and get him playing a lot more, it should be good.
Carol, come to you on Lowry. Obviously, like you obviously watch a lot of football in Scotland. You know, you've seen a lot of young guys come through who have probably played a lot more games than Alex just because they're not at Rangers as much as anything else.
Yeah.
How much mentally does it take for like a young player who, all right, he got his chance and he got his goal in the cup game, and then he plays in the league game. He then kind of drifts out of the team again, comes back in against Aaron. Then he kind of drifts out again, and then he's back in today. How difficult do you think that is for a young lad to, like, sort of stay in that kind of mental zone that you're waiting for your next opportunity?
At this moment in time, I don't think it'd be that difficult for him because he probably wasn't expecting his chance when he got it, and it came, and he took it with both hands. all credit to him. He's been in and out since, but because he's been in, he's waiting for another chance. I think if it was next season, he's still doing that. He might be getting itchy feet then because he thinks, well, I've been here a season and a half in the first year, I want a bit more. But Alex is a player, his balance is superb. So he's running with the ball, he's superb, and he plays with his head up, which was what I like about him. He doesn't run with his head down, he's always looking for a ball, and he always wants to pass forward. And I think, to me, if Jordy Boy's no fit or Jordy Boy needs a rest, Alex can slip in that position very easily. So I think Alex has a big future, and I'm just hoping it's with Rangers because I think he's got all the potential and the talent to be a first team player for us.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, I dare say if Gerrard had still been here that Alex would probably have got his chance in that cup game. I do still think that would have happened anyway. But do you think that with Gio obviously coming into the club and coming from the Dutch background, where they do like to give younger players a chance, do you think that will help Alex between now and the end of the season, John? Or do you think it's a matter of building towards next season for Alex now?
I think Alex Lowry's probably seen his last first team minutes. Unfortunately for the team, I just think there's too much competition and too many players there that would be ahead of him if everyone's available. I mean, he's got his chance today because of the opposition, because of the week that we've had, because Lundstrom and Rebo are out injured. Ramsey's only needing that amount of time. If you've got everyone available, I don't think Alex Lowry's going to feature too much. I think you're trying to get him hungry, you're trying to get him that taste, and then it'll be pre-season. I'd imagine he will be heavily involved in that team. And depending on what happens in the summer with departures, I think Lowry could be like a Barry Ferguson type player where he is just sprung in as a first team player from next season onwards. I think he's shown today against, albeit a very poor SPFL side, they are still a top flight side currently, and he didn't look out of place in any way. I mean, the argument could have been that he played against Stirling and Annan, and he's started against Livingston at a home game, but I think he's not at any point looked out of place in those two games against top flight teams. So I think I can't see where he would get too many more minutes. I think maybe if there'd been lesser teams still in this semi-final and we had a chance of getting a poorer team at Hampden, but it's going to be a tough draw no matter who we get. So I can't really see where the title's not open enough that we're going to be having secured it.
Yeah, well, I mean, looking at obviously the B team game next Saturday against Celtic, and it's obviously going to be at Ibrox, where there's going to be a fairly decent crowd, it looks like. Do you think it's important, Kerr, for players like Charlie McCann and Alex to shine in that particular game, just so that maybe it shows yet again that these guys are of a higher standard than the B team?
I think it is, because there will be a lot of eyes on them, isn't there? Because the last game, the game against Celtic, I watched it. Did Celtic play Clyde? They play Clyde, yeah. Was that a Glasgow Cup game?
I think it's Airdrie.
Airdrie, right. I remember watching it, and Alex Lowry stood out that day. He was a class. Even the commentators were saying, I can't remember who it was, but they were saying he stood out a mile. And so I think because it's at Ibrox, there'll be, I don't know, many will be there, maybe 15,000, 10,000 or something. I think he will go into a match and think, I'm a first team player. I don't really want to be here next season, so I'll have to show him that. And I think Charlie McCann will be the same. But it won't be the only two. There'll be other guys in the B team want to show what they're all about, like Leon and Tony West and players like that. So I think it'll be a good test for the guys on Saturday. And you've got players at Celtic who are probably thinking about the same, but they want to get into their first team. But I think Alec, like John says, Alec will probably be challenging it a bit next season for the first team. But see somebody putting a comment there, he reminds him of Bobby Russell. I kind of agree with that. I remember Bobby Russell at Rangers, and Bobby Russell's a fantastic player. I used to always say, when Bobby Russell plays well, Rangers play well, and he does remind me of Bobby Russell, just the way he comes through the middle of the park and creates chances, and hopefully he can score some of the goals Bobby scored, especially one against PSV Eindhoven. If he can get that kind of standard, that would be great.
I actually don't know, Paul, but if you hit me up on Twitter at RFC Youth Updates, I'll try and find out for you, mate. Because it isn't a Saturday at 3 o'clock kickoff, so it could possibly be that the club could show it on our TV, but I'm not 100%, but we'll try to find out for you, mate, all right? I was just looking back at the 90 minutes. If somebody had offered us a 3-0 victory where we probably didn't have to put in, a ridiculous amount of effort per se, without being kind of too critical of what Dundee offered, is that the sort of result you would have took, guys, before the game?
Yeah, definitely. I was hoping for more goals personally, because I thought they were there for a hiding. But the last few games, I've said that we've been due someone to hiding. It's not happened. So today, I was just going to take whatever as long as we were comfortable. Pretty impressed. My only real gripe with the performance is I don't think we're going to see much of Big Phil Hollander for the rest of the season. I think we're too far in. I think he needs too much game time to get up to. He'll no play against Celtic. He'll no play in the European games. He looks as though he needs too many games, like a Dundee, like an Annan, to get himself back up to proper match fitness.
Yeah,
that's my only real gripe about today. That's all.
No, I think that's fair enough. At the end of the day, Phil's obviously missed.
Yeah, he's missed a hell of a lot of football.
Yeah, because it's never easy at this time of the season to bring players in, and I think that's why today made a lot of sense that Phil started.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You'll need more games like that to get to that stage.
Yeah, and especially with Leon. Leon's going to play on Thursday night, and obviously Phil wasn't chosen for the European squad, so that particular decision made a lot of sense. I mean, you could argue that maybe Phil could play next Sunday again in the league game, but we might obviously see a stronger team for 90 minutes in the league game rather than today, where we obviously made quite a few changes for the cup game. I'll come to you, John. Looking back at the game, what do you take out of that game in terms of the players, something like Ramsey? Is it more important that Ramsey get 78 minutes than some of the other things that happened? Or do you think it's good for Sakala that he gets his goal, that Roof gets a good solid 45 minutes? Are these all just bonuses within the game?
Yeah, and I think more just the comfort around is no giving away too many chances and another clean sheet. I think that's I feel like the St Johnstone and Aberdeen games, we never really gave up any chances, but I felt like, I know Belgrade are a totally different step up, but I felt like 3-0 was a flattering scoreline, so it was good to see the kind of defence keeping that clean sheet going forward again, because that's off the back of that 5 games, no keeping a clean sheet and drawing 4. It's nice to kind of walk away with back-to-back clean sheets in 4 games now, going into Belgrade again, another place where we're going to have our backs against the wall, hopefully can get another solid defensive performance, so it's good for that. It's good to see Bassey kind of continuing at left back as well, because I think that is his position, especially now we've got Hollander back. We don't need him being in there. He's made that position his own. Ramsey, good to get minutes. I like Ramsey in that right side of a front three. It's where he played loads of times for Arsene Wenger at Arsenal. He played in that role. I really liked him in there all the time. When it was Ozil on the 10, Sanchez left and Ramsey right, he did that a lot. Really creative. So it's good to see Ramsey getting time. I thought for Ryan Jack again, the more minutes Ryan Jack can get without any niggles is perfect for us, because he has clearly been proven to be the absolute heartbeat of what goes on with this team. He does just seem to drive standards. And Sakala's goal, he sees much as we can spread goals around, but I think the icing on the cake for everyone, I think, is Lowry's assist. That's what we've been wanting to see. We've been crying out for this for years, and we got a wee taste of it with Patterson. We want to see young Rangers fans playing for Rangers first team. So I think him coming on and getting a wee assist was the one for me.
Yeah, guys, I'll come to you next, just on a kind of general term. When you look at today, obviously there are a couple of guys in the comments are talking about Helander as well. Mm-hmm. Is it just the fact that he's missed so much football that there's a fear that putting him in one of the big games and maybe something goes wrong? Is that the fear? Or do you think it's just the fact he's had so little game time even since he's come back?
I'm reading the comments there. I'm not questioning his overall performance. I just think we're too far into the business end of the season for his match sharpness. The only real thing probably done wrong today was with Dundee's header. He got out jumped again for that. But overall, he did play relatively decent. But I don't think the amount of football he's played, you'll be flinging him in against Celtic on the 3rd of April. That's all I'm meaning. I'm not like
no, mate. Of course,
I think he's what I know. It's a toss-up between who's the best defender at the club, between Goldson and Hollander. Goldson's obviously got the ball at his feet. He's miles better than Hollander, but Hollander's a top-notch defender when he's fit.
Yeah, and I think that's just been the concern with Phil over his time at Rangers. You know, he has obviously missed some sustainable periods of football because of injury, but obviously there's no doubt when he's fit. I think when you look at the centre-backs, it's going to be Helander and Golson. If they're fit, they're absolutely fine. What's this? Curry Muncher saying, where are you getting balls from the charity shop, John?
It's a bit of dry skin at the side of my nail. It's doing my nutting. It's not my nail. There's a bit of dry skin right in here that I need to bite. When I'm doing my
that's quality, Curry.
Right, man, the big man misses nothing. The big man misses nothing, mate. You'll never get away with anything here. What we got here? Emma's saying, do you think it's a good thing we have a couple of weeks break after Europe, get some energy back into the players? 100%, apart from the guys that are going to be away in international duty, which obviously then just brings more fear, especially with somebody like Morelos, who could end up on the other side of the world again almost, and to basically sit in the bench or not even go off the bench. I think that's the biggest worry with somebody like Morelos, because we know how important he is. I think Nigeria's also got a two-leg playoff as well, so that would probably mean that Bassey, Aribo, and are all away. So yet again, there's always a fear, and then obviously at the end of the day, like COVID's still about, so there's always that fear that maybe one of the players comes back and they miss like a crucial game somewhere. It's just something we kind of have to accept, isn't it? Like the European break has the good and the bad. Yeah. Like the players are away, so you don't have control over them.
Probably looking at Ryan Jack going away back. In fact, Scotland aren't going now.
Well, I think there's talk about them playing a friendly, isn't there? There seems to be a bit of chatter. So, but I would like to think that maybe Rangers would be in contact and saying, look, we're not being kind of thingy here, but would it be possible to just give Ryan 10 days rest, where he doesn't necessarily need to be away with Scotland?
You know what the answer to the SFA will be to that?
Well, I think at the end of the day, when it's a friendly, I think there's a bit more give and go. When it's a qualifying game, I think you can accept that they want to call up the best players available. But I think when it comes to a friendly, you would like to think that Rangers can have a bit of kind of give and go with the manager and say that maybe Ryan just needs a bit of a break. I mean, I was actually surprised that Ryan played today, if I'm totally honest. I kind of half expected Ryan to be on the bench and maybe come on if he was needed. I thought after playing on Thursday night, he would have been rested today. But when you see how well he plays when he's out in the pitch, it's kind of hard to kind of say anything because he just does so much so well. And I think that's why we're very lucky to have Ryan back at this time of the season, because he's going to be pivotal, to us winning anything. It's going to be certainly how well Ryan defends in front of that back 4 or 5 at times. Okay, we'll talk about Calvin Bassey. Calvin's obviously kind of went from somebody that was basically a squad player probably at the start of the season, somebody on the fringes of the team. Is it hard now, John, to look at a Rangers team and not see Calvin Bassey in the starting 11?
Aye, that's it. It's also the thing. See, if you want to be a good coach and you want to convince players there's a pathway, if you turn up and perform well and you get your chance, you take a jersey.
Yeah.
The way he's been playing, there was no way Barisic could stay in that team. I love Barisic, but Bassey's just changed it. The way that Van Bronckhorst has changed the team is the fullbacks are having to run from deeper, and that was never Barisic's thing. Barisic's thing was being there high already, so that if he got the ball, it was one touch and cross. Now you're asking Barisic to do something he doesn't have, which is overlapping for 50 yards deeper than Kent. You see Bassey do it, it's non-stop full pace. Tavernier non-stop full pace. Barisic just doesn't have it. It's just Bassey is just more athletic and got more energy and more fitness and more speed and more power to do what Van Bronckhorst needs him to do, which is overlapping from deep. So he's ready-made, and especially if he wants to play around with this 3-5-2. Barisic cannot play as a left wing back. Barisic needs somebody to play with in front of him. So if you take that away from him, he's not got it. It's Bassey's strip in a Van Bronckhorst team. There's no way Barisic gets back in.
Well, that's my next question, Kerr. Do you think that by Bassey basically being in the first team now and not looking like he's going to lose that spot, does that make a decision a bit easier for the manager come the summer? Because at the end of the day, you probably can't have a 29, 30-year-old like sort of Croatian left back as a backup, can we? I mean, he's going to want to play somewhere, isn't he?
He is, aye. And if he knows he's not going to be first choice, he'll probably ask to leave anyway. Well, he's probably best for Borna, because I think we have seen the best in him at Rangers. I think different systems, he just doesn't suit. And I was critical of Calvin at the start when he first came in, but he has proved he deserves to be there because he has matured, he has get better, he can see he's plays a lot better, his positional sense is a lot better, but he gives you the drive that Borna doesn't give you at times. He doesn't give up, and when he's running forward with the pace he's got, he is difficult to stop. And I have to say I quite like the guy. He's still young and he's still learning, so he could be a left back for us for a good few years. So I think Borna could be on the way, and that's just the way it is in football. Sometimes you get that position and you keep it, and Borna's going to have to accept that, I'm afraid. But I think Borna does play better when Ryan Kent's in front of him.
Yeah.
But I think Calvin can cut him down. You've seen it in European games with Calvin. He gets forward, but then he's one of the first players to get back as well. But that's no Borna, because Borna's not got that game in him. But Calvin has. So yeah, you keep Calvin at left back, I have to say.
Guys, I'll come to you on Calvin as well, just before we kind of finish up. Is like sort of one of the bonuses with Calvin that he can play centre back as well. So even within a game, if there's an injury, that Calvin can basically just slot in there to a back three if required.
Yeah, definitely. I like the boy. I think going to centre backs helped him a lot as well. He's my biggest gripe on at full back was his crossing, and his crossing this season's improved leaps and bounds. At the start of the season, when he had the left back position, some of the crosses he was putting in were brilliant. And he's up and down. And I wouldn't like to be in front trying to stop him when he's running at your full pace. And he just looks like he goes out there and enjoys himself.
Yeah.
It just looks like he wants to play for Rangers.
Yeah, and I think one of the big things, again, we talk about patience a lot of the time on pods, because I think when you've watched football for a long time, you do understand that patience is one of the things you need. And Calvin, when he signed for Rangers, had never played a first team game. We basically brought a guy in that was part of a Leicester under-23 squad, and we brought him into Rangers, and we kind of gradually, obviously, gave him first team appearances, kind of dripping, really, because Borna was playing so well in that left-hand side that we just kind of dropped Calvin in and out of the team. But this season, he's just became a monster, really, to be honest. I mean, I was critical of him at the start of the season. I thought at times he was getting caught out quite easily. But I think it just shows you he's playing with so much confidence right now. And he's looking like a player that is not going to give up that jersey lightly. And the way that he gets up and down that left-hand side, I mean, some of the tussles with the boy in the second half was really good. The boy Daley Thompson, I think it was, he might have been his name. And I think one of the comments earlier was, I don't know how he got booked, because I didn't see what he actually did for the booking. I don't know if the referee thought he tugged the jersey, but it was just a kind of physical contest down that side of the pitch in the second half with a couple of players. And I think the referee got that one badly wrong. But I think on the day, when you look at the overall performance, we're happy with the win. It was good for Alex to get his assist. It was great for Aaron Ramsey to get his first start. I think we've all been waiting for that. Hopefully it's not the last start that he gets for Rangers between now and the end of the season. It has allowed us to give some players a rest ahead of Thursday night, which I think we all agree it's going to be a hell of a tough game out there, I think, we've seen enough at Ibrox to know they've got enough of a threat going forward that it's going to be tough. I do agree with John. I think we might go with three at the back. I think you might see Lundstrom almost playing as a centre-back basically the whole game. I think it just offers us extra protection with the wee slide rule balls that they put through. But I'll come to you guys quickly, just on a wee thing ahead of Thursday night. What is the biggest thing for Thursday night? Is it to go there and to get the early goal, or do you think it's just to try and stop them scoring within the first half an hour, say, here?
I think we just go there and play our own game. I don't think we go and look too much into it. They are a good side. They're not as bad as the scoreline reflected like they were a bad side, but they weren't. Obviously, they scored a few goals which were offside, and then they'd missed a penalty, and they looked quite decent, especially the lad up front, Catal. He looked quite decent. They had a couple of players middle of the park who could pass the ball and pick a pass. So I think we'll find it hard. I think you have to keep it tight for 30 minutes, but sometimes you can't. But we just want to go over there and play our game. Now, away from Europe, we've actually played quite well in a lot of European games, so I'm not going to be too scared of it going away, because I think we can always nick a goal. So I think I'll be confident of going through. But if we just go over there and concentrate on ourselves, we'll be fine.
John, are you looking forward to the atmosphere in Thursday night? Because obviously, I just about remember the game in the 90s. I was still a young boy back in the days, but I remember the atmosphere was really loud and intense, etc. that night. I think from what the word sort of coming out of Serbia is, they can only get half in terms of the crowd. So it's maybe not going to be packed to the rafters, but they're certainly going to make it intimidating, aren't they?
They're going to try. And McGregor's been there, seen it, done it.
Yeah.
McGregor's played them 3 times now and no conceded a goal. So I'm praying that's an omen that continues, and we come out there with a 0-0 draw on Thursday. I don't think we need to do too much. I think we just need to play our own game. We'll be a threat on the counter attack at all times. If they commit too many bodies forward at any time, we're still going to have Kent. I think we'll go 3-5-2 as well. So we're going to have Kent, Morelos, and Aribo breaking anytime if they overload. And I think they looked. I've not watched. Admittedly, I've not watched them outside of that one game, but they looked really poor in the transition out of possession. When we turned over the ball, they looked all over the place. So I think Van Bronckhorst will be quite happy to sit in for 25-30 minutes and just soak up pressure and just hope to hit them on the counter. It's not like away goals matter. We've got a 3-goal buffer. I think we could score if we had to, but I think we just have to play it safe and just prepare yourself for a nail-biting performance, I reckon, and just get through it. Just get through it. That's all we need to do.
I know it sounds kind of daft, guys, to say this, but see, like normally in this type of game, obviously the away goal rule would probably play a big part. Rangers get 1 goal. Basically, they would need to score 5. And I know even, we've had some bad days in Europe, obviously, at times over the years watching Rangers, but it would be unlikely that we would lose 5 goals. So do you think the away goal rule being scrapped now, like, sort of leaves the tie more open than it would have been if the away goal rule was still in force?
Yeah, I think that's pretty obvious. I was quite happy that we were the home team in the draw before we went. I thought if we'd went out there and maybe lost 1 or 2-0 and came back to Ibrox, it might have been a bit tougher. So, but I'm the same as the boys. I think we just go and play our own game. I'm confident that we will score out there. So, because I've seen it, they're good going forward, but like John says, you can pick them off once they lose the ball. They looked quite vulnerable at the back. But I'm confident we'll score.
Yeah, I think that's a thing. I think when you watch us in Europe this season, I know at the start we were maybe a little bit ropey, to be fair, especially in the group stages. We didn't start off particularly well. But I think more so since like Gio's come in, I think we look like a much bigger threat in Europe. We look as though we're more expansive. And I know that's crazy because under Gerrard in Europe we were very good, but for some reason at the early part of this season, we just didn't seem to have that spark in the European games. And I think like the Dortmund games for us seem to have given the players a lot of confidence. If you can score 6 goals against a Dortmund team, you're clearly doing something right. I know that Red Star first leg was a bit crazy. I mean, if they played that game another 10 times, there's no way that game would finish 3-0 to Rangers. There was so many things within that game that could have happened, that could have changed the course of the result. But let's look forward to Thursday night. That's the biggest thing for me. Hopefully we can go there and get a positive result and we'll go through to the next round. That's the biggest thing for us as a club financially and on so many other levels. Yeah. Right, I think we're going to tie up for tonight because I'm getting hungry. I don't know about John and guys and Scott, but I'm getting peckish. I've no doubt to eat this before the fit of the day, so I'm getting a bit peckish. I appreciate all the comments as always, guys. Hopefully see you again for the preview for the Red Star game. I don't know what else Martin's got planned for the rest of the week, but I'm sure he'll tweet it out or put it out on YouTube. Thanks again for joining us tonight. Appreciate it, and we'll see you all again very, very soon. Cheers.